everyone, welcome to Prudent News. Now look at the headlines. 575 sand mining permit applications lying idle leading to illegal sand extraction. Goa government's Environment Impact Assessment Authority still lacks. Apex Court gives landmark judgment. Voters will get right to reject on EVM machines. None of the above button from forthcoming elections. Goa government was not so good in last 6 hearings in Supreme Court. Mining dependents say if this continues, judgment may not lead to resumption of mining. Rahul Gandhi embarrasses PM, says ordinance protecting corrupt netas is nonsense and it should be thrown out. Ordinance on verge of withdrawal. And Ecologue gave a boost to Goa's commitment, says Lusophobia Game CEO Keshav Chandra. Volunteers program receives tremendous support. And now the news in detail. Permit process to applicants for sand mining is stuck halfway courtesy Mines Department's snail-paced policies. Department had invited applications for allotting permits to sand mining. Around 575 applications were received, but these applications are pending even after a month. Environment Impact Assessment also has to be prepared before giving these permits. EIA is yet to begin leading to smuggling of sand.
National Green Tribunal has made environmental clearances from Forest and Environment Ministry mandatory or a clearance from State Environment Impact Assessment Authority for clearing mining permits. The applications have been invited for issuing sand mining permits. Environment Assessment Authority of State Pollution Control Board has decided to appoint an agency to study the environmental impact. Tenders are being floated for appointing the agency. What will agency do? Agency will study sand mining areas. Mandavi, Shapora, Terikol, 3 zones are finalized by the government. Agency to conduct a study on these 3 zones for sand mining. Agency to study impact of sand mining on environment and marine life and other effects. Effects of sand mining on the banks of river where it is extracted. Agency to conduct a satellite survey of such zones. After survey, agency will submit its report to Environmental Impact Assessment Authority. Environment Impact Assessment Authority will allot permits based on agency's report. Mines Department will scrutinize the application after environmental clearances. Almost 575 applications are awaiting approval at State Mines Department. But it looks like government will require at least another 2 or 3 months to complete the process following norms set by National Green Tribunal. Mahesh Gadi for Prudent.
Indian citizens will get the right to reject all candidates contesting the poll. In a landmark judgment on Friday, the Apex Court has directed the Election Commission to provide none of the above button on electronic voting machine. This order will be implemented for forthcoming assembly election.
Now, EVM machines will give you an option of none of the above before casting your vote. Indian citizens for the first time will get the right to reject all candidates contesting an election. The concept of negative voting would bring a systematic change in the election process as political parties would be forced to project clean candidates in polls. Court has directed Election Commission that the secrecy of votes cast under the NOTA category must be maintained by the EC.
It's a victory of all of us, of the small man as we call voter. Now the Supreme Court has put people who want to cast their vote, voters who can't want to cast their vote, and those who don't want to cast their vote on the same pedestal. Their secrecy will not be violated. Now it's a great thing in the sense that if you don't want to cast your vote, looking at the kind of candidates who are there, those tainted records, those who are undeserving, then you can certainly say, I don't want to cast my vote. This will bring a change in the mindset of the political parties, which is the most important thing. Then the third step will be that suppose it is exceeding 50%, then it should be rejected and there should be repoll in that.
The Supreme Court's order will be implemented for the forthcoming assembly elections in the country. However, The bench did not say what will happen if the votes cast under the NOTA option outnumber the votes received by candidates. The court passed the order on a PIL filed by an NGO, People's Union for Civil Liberties. This ruling is a warning to political parties to not field tainted ministers in elections. It sends a message to political parties only to pick candidates with a clean report. Bureau Report, Prudent.
It's a frustrating update on Goa mining matter hearing in the Supreme Court on Friday. Goa government has miserably failed to impress the Supreme Court with its arguments and information. Representatives of Goa government in Supreme Court fumbled on many occasions while answering on major issues raised by the court. Reports on mining, marking of boundaries and zones and action taken on the violators were not dealt in Goa advocates' arguments.
Mining dependents are worried. They are of the opinion that Supreme Court will not pass the judgment in favor of mining resumption unless Goa government succeeds to impress the apex court on the issues like how it will regulate mining industry if the ban is lifted, study on the carrying capacity, intergenerational equity, economic benefits and impacts of the mining on society, what action government has taken on the PAC report, buffer zone limits, marking of tiger zone. These are the areas where Goa government representatives have to score if it wants the apex court to pass the judgment in favor of mining resumption.
गोवा गव्हर्मेंटाची बाजू पहिली वो एक तांचो कोण तरी सिनियर कावन्सील आशिल्लो आनी मागीर लास्ट दिसाक एजी आयिल्लो कोर्टान आनी तें जर सारकें जर ताणें मांडलें हे जे पळय 8-9 मुद्दे जे एकदम गरजेचे आसा ते जर आतां ताणें वेवस्थीत मांडले जाल्यार चान्स आसा नाल्यार म्हाका दिसना कितें चान्स आसा कित्याक जजान मध्ये एकदां अशें सुद्दां सांगलें की वी हॅव द पावर टू स्टॉप ऑल मायनींग पूण जे प्रमाणे ते उलयताले पळय वो जज एकदम बेंच जो पळय आसा एकदम बॅलन्स्ड बेंच आसा आनी ते प्रत्येक गोश्ट आयकुपाक तयार आसा आनी आतां फुडें तांणी सांगलां की आमी जे पळय इंडिविज्युअल पेटिशनर्स आसा तांकांय आमी आयकतले आनी कोणाक कितें उलोवंक जाय तांकांय आयकतले पूण तेन्ना ही चान्स आमी सोडची न्हय आनी आपली बाजू वेवस्थीत मांडून निदान सर्वायवल खातीर तरी मायनींग आमी चालू करून घेवंक जाय.
Surprisingly, Advocate General of Goa, Advocate Nadkarni, appeared in the court only on the 6th day. He was absent for entire 5 days. Petitioner Claude Alvarez's email says, Advocate General Atmaram Nadkarni appeared in the court on Thursday for 6 days hearing. He couldn't attend the hearing as he first went to pay his respects to Lord Ayyappan. Every year, Advocate General visits Lord Ayyappan. Now, Goa mining matter will be heard on 1st, 3rd and 8th October. Mahesh Gadi for Prudent.
It's a complete nonsense and it should be torn apart and thrown away. This shocking statement comes from Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi on the ordinance passed by the cabinet to shield convicted lawmakers from disqualification. Gandhi says government is taking a wrong decision. The ordinance is likely to be withdrawn.
Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi addressed press conference in the national capital. Speaking on the ordinance passed by the cabinet to shield convicted lawmakers from disqualification, Rahul Gandhi said that what government is doing on this ordinance is wrong.
I'll tell you what my opinion on the ordinance is. My opinion on the ordinance is that it's complete nonsense and that it should be torn up and thrown out. That's my opinion, my personal opinion on the ordinance. I'll repeat it for you. My opinion on the ordinance is that it should be torn up and thrown away. And I really feel that it's about time that political parties, mine and all others, stop making these type of compromises.
Opposition claims, if Prime Minister has some self-respect, he should resign. BJP. Why Rahul Gandhi rejected after so many days? CPM. Sources say President Pranab Mukherjee called in 3 senior ministers for clarification on the recent ordinance passed by the cabinet to shield convicted lawmakers from disqualification, as the BJP urged him to return the proposal. Sources also suggest that the ordinance is likely to be withdrawn. Bureau Report, Prudent.
An important announcement, Mahasangram organized by Prudent has been rescheduled on Monday, 30th September 2013 in GCCI Hall at 9 am with Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar. It was earlier scheduled on Saturday. Kindly take a note. It's time for a short break. Stay tuned.